Marcus Rashford, crunch talks, summer budget revealed, and Mason Greenwood nominated for Player of the Season. These are some of the topics we will be discussing on this evening's show. But before we get into that, please do me one small favour. Subscribe to the channel, smash a like on today's video. Let's try and see 200 likes on today's show, and let's get straight on into it. So let's start the show off with some positivity, like I always like to do here on Daily Red Devil. And I wanted to give a massive shout out to Bruno Fernandes, who is now your April Manchester United Player of the Month. He played in 6 games, got 7 goals and 2 assists. I mean, that is really, really good stats, isn't it, for the month of April to get 9 goals and assists in only 6 games. And you also have to remember, he's been playing with a broken hand for the last, I think, 2 or 3 games. Like, fair play to him, broken wrist and broken hand. So big ups to Bruno Fernandes. I think he's one of the most hard-working players I've seen in the last 10 years for Manchester United. I think he's extremely talented. And I like him. What can I say? So fair play to Bruno Fernandes. He is your April's Player of the Month. So big ups to you. But let's move on to some more topic-related stories. And let's start off with Mason Greenwood. And the headline this evening is that Mason Greenwood has been nominated for La Liga's 2023-24 Team of the Season. Now, I'll be honest with you. I don't really watch much La Liga, so I'm not going to sit here and tell you I've watched every single game he's been a part of, because that would be a lie. But I always watch back once he's scored goals or once he's had a good game, and he has done well for Getafe. He's got 10 goals and 6 assists this season. I mean, that's a pretty good return, isn't it, in 28 games? Really good return, actually. It's more than a goal or an assist every other game. So really, really good. I mean, if you compare that to like Anthony, what's Anthony got, like 3 goals this season? Let's have a look. So Anthony this season has got 3 goals and 2 assists. Mason Greenwood has got 10 goals and 6 assists. And Mason Greenwood's done it in 5 less games as well. So he's had a really strong season. He doesn't take any penalties or anything either. What's going to happen to Mason Greenwood? I imagine he'll probably be sold this summer. The expectation is that Getafe won't have the type of money required to get him out of Manchester United. He's just signed a 1-year extension with Man United, so he's contracted until 2025. There is a lot of competition for the kid. You know, we've got Juventus, you've got Atletico Madrid. It's just whether the clubs are going to pay what Man United want. Apparently, INEOS want around £40 million for Mason Greenwood to be sold this summer. I think he's worth 40 million without a shadow of a doubt. It's just whether one of those European clubs will pay that money. Obviously, Getafe are never going to be able to afford that type of money. Like, Getafe are a very, very small club in the grand scheme of things compared to other teams. So Getafe's record signing, let's have a little look, shall we? Getafe's record signing is, I know obviously Cucurella was there, wasn't he? So their most expensive signing in history was Marc Cucurella, who they bought for 11 million euros. So, you know, we're going from 11 million euros to 40 million euros here. There's a big jump, isn't there? So I don't think he'll stay at Getafe. I could see him at Juventus. I think that's a realistic option. You know, they've got a much larger budget than like a team like Getafe. So yeah, I'll keep you updated on that one, guys. Let me know in the comment section though, how much is Mason Greenwood worth in the current market? Let me know your thoughts. Always like to see what other United fans have to say, so let me know what you think on that one. Moving on from that, let's talk a little bit about Manchester United's available budget for this coming window. So I know everybody loves the transfer window, me included. I get so excited about it. I love doing these videos in the transfer window because there's so much to talk about. There's so much excitement. There's so much enthusiasm. There's so much positivity. I remember in the summer, everyone was so positive. Everyone was, you know, really, really ready for this big season. Obviously, it's been a bit of a flop, but I'm feeling excited about next year now. I'm excited that, you know, we've got Jason Wilcox, Omar Barada, Sir Dave Brailsford, you know, all of these people, Dan Ashworth soon, like all of these people are through the door or will be soon. And we should be able to have a really good window. But in relation to how much money we've got to spend, the headline this evening is Manchester United will have around £100 million to spend this summer, not including sales. So just emphasize on that. So if we didn't sell a single player this summer, we could still spend 100 million. And it goes on to say that the club are aware that there will be multiple sales this summer. So if you think we've got a guaranteed budget of 100 million, okay, then you've got 40 million for Sancho, 40 million for Greenwood, 5 million for Donny van der Beek. That's 85 million already. Then you've got Varane leaving, that's going to free up loads of wages. Casemiro, I reckon you could get 30, 40 million for him. Like, we're easily talking, I would say, 100 to 150 million worth of sales this summer, minimum. If you add that to what our budget is, we should have a budget of about 200 to 250 million, which sounds like a hell of a lot, but in the grand scheme of things, if we spend it badly, it's not. If we spend it well, it is. Like, does that make sense? So, you know, if we buy like another Rasmus Højlund for 70 million, you could only get 3 of them for our whole budget. We need to be doing some interesting deals. We need to be buying players for like 10 million who maybe some of us haven't heard of. That's the kind of work we need to be doing this summer, not just going out for the big name signings. I think 1 or 2 bigger names, fine. Maybe you go for like a bigger name midfielder, and then maybe you go for Jean-Claude Todibo for 40 million. You know, something like that would work well for me. But we are expecting a lot of players to leave. We're expecting for a lot of funds to be raised, and we're expecting a big rebuild this summer. So I'm really, really excited about this this coming window. I think it's going to be the biggest window of Manchester United's kind of last 10 years, because now that INEOS are here, they're going to be looking at this squad thinking we need to cut costs. We need to get rid of some of these high earners, like, you know, the Casemiros, the Varanes, Sanchos. They're all on about 350k a week. Martial's going to go as well. It's going to be a big window. So I'm really, really excited about kind of sharing the summer experience with you guys, because I think it is an exciting time to be a football fan. So if you are watching this for the first time, make sure you subscribe, because obviously there is daily videos every single day throughout the summer, in the morning and the evening. And if there's ever any breaking news, I'll go live as well. So make sure you subscribe, because yeah, this will be your best place to find all of the summer Manchester United transfer news. But in relation to the summer, my absolute bare minimum is we need a centre-back, a midfielder and a striker. Those 3 positions are essential. And I think we need the best in class in those 3 positions. You know, we need a world-beating centre-back, a world-beating midfielder and a world-beating striker. That's kind of my minimum for this summer. And then I think the rest of it, we can kind of piece around it. Maybe you go and get a Jeremy Frimpong to be your kind of right winger / right back for 35 million, I think his release clause is. Like, those kind of deals need to be on the side. Because for me personally, a striker is essential. We've only got 1 striker at the moment. Martial's about to leave, and Rashford's not very good as a striker, and Rasmus can't be doing it every single game for him. Now, is there a world where we go for Ivan Toney? Maybe. I don't think we will, personally, just because of all of his gambling charges and stuff. I feel like Man United will want to steer away from that, but we'll wait and see what happens. I think, you know, he would be an interesting signing, but for me personally, I don't think it's one that Man United would do. But what I want you guys to do is let me know how many signings you think Manchester United will make this summer. And yeah, we'll look back after the transfer window and see who won. Moving over to Marcus Rashford, though, this is a player who could be leaving the club this summer. The headline this evening is that apparently Marcus Rashford is set to meet with Sir Dave Brailsford and Jim Ratcliffe for talks. Now, the information that I've got is that apparently Jim Ratcliffe wants to sit down with Rashford and understand why he's unhappy and understand why Rashford thinks there's a dip in form, okay? Let's put aside all of the he's sulking, he's not tracking back. Why does Rashford think that he's gone from being a 30-goal scoring season last year to what's he scored this season? Like 8 goals, is it? Let's have a look. So 30 goals last year was his best ever return, wasn't it? And he was the first attacking player to score 30 goals or more since Sir Alex Ferguson. This season, he's got 8 goals. So he went from 30 to 8. Like, that is a massive, massive drop. And he didn't take any penalties last year. I think he's taken more penalties this year than he did last year, and he's only scored 8 goals this season. So just let that sink in for a minute. He scored 22 goals less than last year, and he's had a couple of penalties this season just to boost his confidence. And you know what? I think it's good that Jim Ratcliffe will sit down with him and try and understand, you know, what's been the problem. But at the same time, if a big offer comes in for him, I personally would sell him, to be honest. I know he's from the youth academy. I know he's a local lad and all this stuff, but no player is bigger than the club. And I think if we're going to sell him, like, now would be a good time to do it. It would be 100% profit on our books. Financial fair play is obviously quite tough at the moment. So, you know, selling Rashford and, say, Mason Greenwood would be 100% profit. So it's something we have to consider. But yeah, I'm looking at like 60 to 100 million pounds for him. That's kind of my price range, because he is a good player. He's just clearly not happy. And it's just whether INEOS feel like they can, you know, bring back the old Marcus Rashford or not. And I think personally, Yeah, I don't know. I think it's maybe a little bit too far gone for me, but that's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys would do with Marcus Rashford. Right, I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. Thank you so much for joining me on the show this evening. I hope everyone has a lovely weekend. Please do me a small favour on your way out. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. This has been Daily Red Devil. Have a great day, everybody, and I'll speak to you all very, very soon.